Welcome guys to our Nation Melbourne DNA class. This is our third class. We've already looked at about who we are, our vision, our values, who we are as a movement globally, who we are as a movement locally, how we interpret our global vision and values because we're part of a wider spiritual family that exists to honour God and make disciples through church planting, campus ministry, world missions, by being Christ-centred, spirit-empowered, socially responsible. So how do we interpret that and apply that for our particular context in Melbourne? 5 million people, 200 different languages spoken, campuses, like 300,000 university students who are going to go on, be trained to make a difference in their world and in the world. How do we be who God's called us as a movement globally to be like? So we looked at that first week. Second week, one of the big things that we say is what we celebrate is that we honour God, we make disciples. What is our discipleship process? How do we live out our values? Remember, worship as in our obedient response to Jesus as King. It's singing, yes, but it's like every day I worship God by choosing to obey Him. So it's my obedient lifestyle through worship. It's outreach. We want to connect with people who don't know Jesus, and it's relationship. Relationship is basically the whole context for our acronym of WORD, but in particular, the R, relationship, is spiritual family, how we connect with one another, and D is discipleship, empowering people, raising up leaders. And so today we're going to be looking a little bit more about leadership, but before we get into leadership, I just want to talk about what we do as a church and how we do things. And so as a church, we believe in the next generation, you know. We absolutely believe that. We believe in our kids, our youth, and university students. So we have a kids ministry, we have a youth ministry as well, and we have what we call Every Nation Campus. This is a key distinctive of who we are globally. You know, you might not have a passion for the campus, that's okay. But if you're going to be part of Every Nation Melbourne, then we are going to have a passion for the campus. It doesn't mean that you have to be on campus reaching out to university students, but this is a distinctive of who we are. Every Nation Campus. Lots of great churches doing awesome kids ministry. We use their material. Lots of great churches doing youth ministry. We use their material. But not a lot of people doing campus ministry. But we believe in the next generation at every level. We want to make disciples of our kids, of our young people, and of the university students. And some people say, oh, you know, Ken, I'm too old to be on campus. You know what? If you can cook food, then if you can be hospitable, if you can love people, if you can share your testimony, you can reach out to university students. University students are hungry, they want to be fed, they're also hungry for meaning and purpose and family. And so this is what we do. Maybe in particular with kids and youth, in Victoria, last year the Victorian State Government released what they called the Commission for Children and Young People, looking at a whole bunch of historical child abuse situations, and they've come up, basically we have legal obligations to protect our children, to create a safe space for them. So what we've done as a church is that we have employed the expertise of an outside organisation, a Christian organisation called Child Safe, that are helping us to work through our processes and our systems to make sure, not just that we've got you working with children's card up to date, but basically online training to be able to say, this is how we are going to discharge our statutory obligations to make sure our children have as safe an environment as possible. But not just safe, but as nourishing, as encouraging. Part of it so it was the CCYP, you can look that up, ccyp.vic.org. .gov, that should be .gov.au, and you can see the recommendations, and we have to try to live up to that. So we're working with these guys to do that. Now, so that's what we do in terms of what we believe in the next generation. Obviously what we do is we have Sunday services, and our philosophy is that the Sunday service is super important. It's visible, it's like if I can, draw a picture using blue of this shape here. Now this shape is, I don't know, it's just a blob, right? But I'm going to add more information to it. So if I do this, what is it now? It's an iceberg. This is an iceberg. And so this is what our Sunday services are. It's the visible part of who we are as a church. We meet, it's important because it's visible, but at the same time, it's not all that we are. It's not where we're putting all our eggs into having the best service in town. We want it to be good, we want it to be excellent, of course, but we understand that it is part of a wider context. Basically, I'm going through what we do because potentially, maybe you feel a call to serve in any of these areas. We need more kids workers, youth workers, We need more campus missionaries. We need people to be involved in the Sunday service. For instance, in the Sunday service, we have our ushers, we have our worship team, of course. It's not just people if you're musical, but if you're technical, with our AV team, or if you can lift things. Do you have muscles with our sit-up team? Sit up and pack up. We have preaching in our Sunday services. Do you feel a call to preach the Word of God? Our ministry oversight, people who do tithes and announcements. Intercessors, maybe your passion's prayer. We believe in the power of prayer. We call it in-healing / maybe you might know it more as deliverance ministry. People that are needing to grow and be delivered from things that have held them back in the past. So we do pre-marriage and marriage counselling. So once again, we're using tools from outside. We have facilitators who are accredited with Prepare and Enrich, which is a psychometrically sound way to see what potential issues people might have, or what issues they might be going through, and how to give you good tools to deal with them in your marriage. Family is a big part of who we are, and investing in family. If we go back to last week, we talked about our discipleship process, about one-to-one, the Purple Book, being part of a life group. This is the whole, everything fits in with Honour God, Makes Disciples. We do the Sunday service in the context of making disciples. That's why we want to raise up people to serve, to worship, to lead worship, to do AV, to preach. We want to raise up people to do upfront ministry, because that's what we believe in doing. We want to engage the lost. We want to establish people in the Word in the church. We want to equip them to serve in ministry, and we want to empower them to make disciples themselves. And so this is all connected with our discipleship process. So one-to-one, Purple Book, Making Disciples, Victory Weekend, Leadership 215, leading life groups. And we have our 4 E's discipleship process. We also have our 4 I's leadership multiplication process, sometimes also known as I Lead. On the book, the Multiplication Challenge. The Multiplication Challenge by Steve Murrell. Steve Murrell is the president of Every Nation globally. So Steve wrote the book about the 4 E's, which is Wiki Church. He also wrote the book about the 4 I's, which is Multiplication Challenge. Often what we'll do is we'll have groups that are going through Wiki Church, or who are going through the Multiplication Challenge, because this is who we are. We believe in 4 E's discipleship process, and we believe in the 4 I's leadership multiplication. 4 I's are identification, instruction, impartation, and internship. This is important to us because we have this thing called the Church 246 initiative, which we covered in week 1. Our measurable step to be able to plant churches all across Melbourne. And the Every Nation rule of thumb is 1 church per every 500,000 people. We need 10 churches in Melbourne. That's what we're aiming for. By the time we get to 10, Melbourne will probably have 7 million people. We need to raise up more senior pastors. We need to raise up more life group leaders. We need to raise up more campus missionaries. We need 20 to 30 campus missionaries in Melbourne. At every level, we need to raise up someone to lead the ushering team in each of the churches that we're wanting to plant. We need to raise up more kids' church workers. All this kind of stuff. How do we do this? We identify. Identification. Is there a call on their life? Is there a gifting that they have? Is there opportunities, instruction, be able to train the technical side of leadership? What are the skills that people need? Impartation, being able to deal with someone's character. We all have rough edges, right? And it's always a lifelong journey. I still need impartation for the issues in my life, the character I need to grow in. But as I'm learning things, I can teach other people about, hey, this is what I've learned. Maybe this will help you in your character development journey as well. And internship. I don't want to do things by myself. As far as possible, I want to say, hey, come with me as I go and do this. I want people to journey with me. An apprenticeship, basically a leadership apprenticeship. Be around me, see how I do things, and then I'll let you do it, and I'll watch how you go, and then you can just do it. So that's a 4 I's leadership multiplication. What is the leadership structure of Every Nation Melbourne? Am I the tyrannical leader, the despot that whatever I say goes, and I'm the man of God and it's all up to me? It's not like that. I wouldn't wish that, because that's unhealthy, right? We have a healthy leadership structure with checks and balances. I am the senior pastor, Ken Johnston, so that's me. But I have people who are alongside me. First of all, we have an oversight team. Oversight team has someone from every district that we have in Melbourne. So at the moment we have 4 districts. We have the north, we have the west, we have east, and we have central. And so we've got different people. What they oversee is the finances of the church, or report the finances of the church, and the vision and the future, how we're positioning ourselves to fulfill our mission. And they also oversee me. How am I taking enough time off? Am I working too hard? Am I not working hard enough? What am I doing with my time? So this is what the oversight team, they speak into my life. I suppose we're pretty much on a similar level organisationally. Staff. So we also have staff. This is separate to the oversight team, just to kind of remove conflict of interest. But I'm very open with my staff. I have staff meetings. I talk about with these guys just as much as with these guys regarding how I'm feeling about the direction of the church, how I'm wanting to position where we're going, and different things. And we have different staff members who are appointed to different areas. So we have someone who's like the Church 246 director. So there's different areas where we're delegating authority. So, okay, I need to have my finger on the pulse regarding Church 246, but I want you to be intentionally thinking and following up our different Church 246 leaders. This is not a full organisational chart. This is more just to show how we structure our leadership broadly for accountability for me as a senior pastor. RLT stands for the Regional Leadership Team. Every nation globally is divided into regions. We fall into the Oceania region, and the regional leadership team will consist of 5 pastors from the region, and their duty is to make sure that as a movement we're healthy and that the churches are healthy. Is there heresy in the church? Has the senior pastor fallen through moral impropriety? Is there any financial dodginess going on? That's when they can step in and take over, basically sort things out that need to be sorted out. Anyone in the church, so this is just put down here. Anyone in the church at any time has the ability to talk directly to these guys. You don't have to talk to me. If you have a problem with me, you can talk to the regional leadership team. If you suspect that something's wrong, let's maybe not abuse that. Say, Ken's shoes they're not the right colour or something. But if there's a legitimate issue that you feel strongly about, then obviously you can talk to the oversight team, of course. But there's no sense that you have to go through a whole bunch of different layers. You don't have to do that. You can talk directly to the regional leadership team. That's the check and balance that we put in. This is true throughout the region. Some people are a little bit afraid about how much power is vested in the senior pastor. I have quite a lot of power to set the vision, to set the direction, to look at finances, direct, all that kind of stuff. But there are checks and balances. I meet personally with the life group leaders in each region and connect with them and just touch base with them. Pray with them for their region, for their life group, follow them up regarding how they're feeling in preparation for their next Church 246. So I do that with the male leaders, and Kira does that with the ladies. So we've talked about the leadership, we've talked about what we do, right? We've talked about what our leadership process is. And we talked about the leadership structure. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is, if you're part of Every Nation Melbourne, we will always encourage you, we will always challenge you, maybe provoke you to increase in your leadership ability. We all have some modicum of leadership ability. Maybe it's a small part. Whatever measure we've been given, whatever measure you've been given, we're going to call you to go to the full potential of your leadership measure. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 1 billion. Anywhere, and maybe it's somewhere in that spectrum. But wherever you are, we're always going to encourage you to go further till you reach your full potential. We've got a big vision. We need leaders. You know what? And I'm so encouraged that the people that we have in Every Nation Melbourne are leaders. We have a church full of great leaders. While we're doing our Every Nation Melbourne DNA is to be on the same page as leaders. What do leaders do? If you want to be you want to declare publicly that I identify with the vision, the values, the family, the community, the future of Every Nation Melbourne, then you're by definition a leader. And this is what leaders do. In terms of the vision, they communicate and clarify. This is why we're having an Every Nation Melbourne DNA classes, is because I'm spending all this time and I'm reinterpreting what we do through our vision and our values. I'm trying to communicate, I'm trying to over-communicate. I've talked about Church 246, I've talked about our values, I've talked about just even while we've been talking about leadership. I've been putting it all in the context because I'm trying to communicate and to clarify who we are and what we're doing and where we're going. Now, this is, if you're a leader in Every Nation Melbourne, if you're a member even of Every Nation Melbourne, then obviously it's my primary responsibility to do this. This is basically what I'm paid to do, but there's a sense that you would also want to know what the vision is and to be able to communicate it clearly to people. So, hey, what's Every Nation Melbourne? This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. And I can tell you X amount, but if you want to know more, maybe you want to talk to Ken. Maybe talk to one of the other staff, one of the oversight team. Embody and evaluate. So we have values. We've talked about it already. Are we worshipping Jesus as King? Are we living our lives in a way that glorifies Him? Are we obeying Him? Are we embodying the value of worship? Are we embodying the value of outreach? I don't expect you to do something that I don't do myself. I open up my house every Tuesday to whoever to come and to have a meal in my house. I position myself to connect with non-Christians because I want to embody the value of outreach. Not just talk about it, not just say, hey, you go do that. No, I'm doing this. I'm an example for you in doing this. Can you do, you don't have to do what I'm doing, but can you also have the value and do it in the way that God's calling you? Outreach looks different for every single person in this church, that's fine. But can you embody it the way God's calling you to embody the value of outreach? Or relationships, spiritual family. You know what, XYZ offended me last week. I'm not just going to bury it and just trying to get on. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to work it out because we're a family and I don't want this to come in between our relationship. And then discipleship. Do I know how to do one-to-one? Do I know how to do one-to-one with someone who's never darkened the door of the church, doesn't even know what the word salvation means? How do I explain that? Maybe you don't, but we have training for that kind of stuff. We talked about how we're going to do one-to-one training, purple book training. Body and evaluate. So particularly for me and the staff, it's like, okay, are we living up by our values? This is who we say we are. Are we actually do we have integrity? To have integrity means to be who you say you are. I say that we are a church that exists to honour God and make disciples. Church planting, campus ministry, world mission. I say that we have a church that values worship, outreach, relationship and discipleship. I say that we are a church that has a Church 246 initiative that's planning to plant an extension service at Monash University in the second half of next year. Are we doing that? Implement and adjust. We're in a place now where we're working on systems to be able to track our discipleship process, working on systems to be able to measure these things. I've kind of been burnt out by systems, but I've realised that they're important for us to be able to go to the next level. And your input is valued in this. Like, what do you know? What do you see that we can grow in better? You know, I have blind spots. That's why we're a body, right? We have different gifts, different abilities, different perspectives on things. And so leaders take ownership of who we're called to be. It's kind of like the idea of, am I an employee or am I a family member? If someone comes into a business, the wall is a little bit dirty, and I don't really like that, but I'm just an employee. I'm just coming along, I'm transacting here. There's a transaction taking place. I'm giving money and I'm receiving services. We're not transactional, we are relational. And so it's more the idea of I've gone to the restaurant and there's a dirty wall and you want me to get up and clean it because it's my family business. And what that wall is doing, that spot on the wall reflects on my family, reflects on who we're called. It doesn't meet our values. Our family business is the mission that God has given us, to honour Him, make disciples. Church planting, campus ministry, world mission. What do leaders do? Build and correct. So, I mean, this is primarily my job. This is my full-time job, doing this stuff. This is more important than what I preach on a Sunday. what I'm preaching on Sunday needs to work towards this kind of stuff. It can't just be whatever. It's got to be part of an overarching plan, an overarching mission, vision, reason why we exist. I always encourage you to stand up for who we are, to communicate who we are, to embody who we are, to have a look at what's going on in the wider church and to make suggestions and take initiative regarding what we're, our systems and definitely our culture. I'm working really hard at the moment to build what our culture is, and doing my best to raise up other leaders through the 4 Eyes leadership process, to raise up other leaders to do the same. Leaders do. Leaders serve over the top of everything else. We don't have a mentality that the leader is entitled. I didn't become senior pastor to get anyone's respect. I didn't become senior pastor to earn money. None of those reasons for to make it big onto the preaching circuit. And so when I don't get respected, when I don't get money, I still serve, because that's not the reason why I became senior pastor. I became senior pastor to serve. I became senior pastor to serve Jesus, ultimately. We're building a culture of people who will serve. Be involved, be active, all that kind of stuff, but serve. Serve each other, a spiritual family, serve the wider community, people who don't know Jesus. Thanks, guys.